More and more people are feeling drawn towards living a life that we would call their purpose. They're feeling more and more called towards discovering what their unique gifts are, what they uniquely give to the world. And they can see that, right now I'm in this in-between place where I have this sterile work, not really passionate about what I'm doing, but I can see this island over there where I'm basically waking up on purpose. I'm deeply connected to my work and I'm doing what I feel like I was put here to do. But a common, frustration and challenge that people have in that place is trying to figure out what is it that my unique gifts are, and even what are gifts. And this is something that I struggled with for a large number of years. I first came across this idea that even existed of discovering your purpose and discovering your gifts from the book Way of the Superior Man by David Deida. And actually the very first text in that book, it has the phrase, "May this book serve the liberation of your true gifts." And it goes on. So not just your gifts, your true gifts. And so I remember thinking to myself, what is a gift? What are my gifts? Is it something that I'm naturally talented at? Or is it something that is related to my sense of humor or my passion or my intelligence, my intellect? I don't know. And so I didn't really know, I don't have a clue what my actual gifts were or my talents or nothing. And so time went on and I kept hearing that phrase more and more. More or less, the phrase was, you have these unique gifts that the world desperately needs, and your life will be better if you step into them and give them. But of course, they don't really give you the steps on how to give your gifts. Because, we're like these fish that are in the water that don't know that we're wet. We're living our lives spontaneously. We are expressing ourselves. At the same time, we're trying to turn the microscope and look, okay, which part of all this bit of life here is the good stuff, is the competitive edge, is the gifts that the world need that separates me from everybody else around here. And so I went through a long journey for many years trying to discover what exactly my talents are, what exactly that I bring to the table. I would ask close friends, what is it that my gifts are that you think? And they all give different answers, but you get a few hints. And ultimately, we all end up a bit confused. And I came across a video. The reason why I'm doing this video today is I came across a coaching session by Joe Hudson. He's got a really great YouTube channel called The Art of Accomplishment. He's basically like the next level for coaching and doing inner work, especially around people with problems with their emotions and a lot of different life problems. Anyways, in one of these live coaching sessions that he had with this woman, she was expressing exactly this. She was saying, I don't know what my gifts are. I don't know what I bring to the table. And his solution was perfectly simple and direct, and I would say almost elusively simple. Basically, it was be yourself equals your gifts. So if you want to give your gifts, just be yourself. I think that being yourself, it's connected, the way I see it, into this, it's kind of a meta topic. There's levels to it. It sounds so simplistic on the outside, but the deeper you go, the more profound it gets. It's a little bit like that meme of the intelligence, where there's low IQ, then there's middle, then there's high IQ. And on the low IQ, there's the icon of the guy that's like drooling and has a hole in his head, and he says, "Oh, just be yourself." And you go to the middle, and they say it's not that easy. You have to do 1, 2, 3, 4. But then you keep going, and you reach the level of Jedi mastery, and the conclusion you come to is the same as what the low intelligence said, which is, just be yourself. So same meaning. Same phrase, same words, but deeper meaning. So back to how being yourself relates to your gifts. I noticed that a lot of people, and I went through this myself for a number of years, there is this unconscious belief that our most authentic, relaxed self is inferior. There's a better version that we could bump it up a little bit. We could enhance it with this mask we put on top, for example, which is maybe more polished, more professional, or it could be more sexy and more, exuberant, or it could be more smart, it could be more social, whatever. We all typically are not willing to just sit there in a social setting or a business meeting or with our family or friends and just be completely ourselves. Very often we think that there's a better version that we can do, which is the mask that we put on or the persona that we put on that we add to it. And when you start adding masks and you start kind of reaching, you start adding on this enhancement or whatever, you disconnect yourself from that true self state. And typically your gifts are going to be stunted. It's sort of like the flow of your gifts coming outward, they get a bit restricted and tightened up. And if you actually were to reject that whole premise that there is a superior version of yourself that you could yourself invent, which of course is ego, and you were just to relax into, sink into who you truly are, as Duncan Trussell says, you will find that the relaxed state allows your intelligence to flow better, your humor to flow better, your insights, what the moment needs can use you as a conducive element to let it come into the room, And it's a benevolent force that typically comes through us when we're in our truest state, is that it benefits the whole room. It's good for the whole room. All parties involved benefit. And there's another thing about that people resist being themselves as it pertains to their gifts also, is that a lot of people fear the surrender that comes with that. Because when you are truly doing the practice of being yourself and you are just, zero, you're not reaching at all, you've kind of subtracted all of the nonsense, subtracted to just being as close to your real self as you can. Often what comes out isn't something that you can control or create or produce. It's kind of either there or it's not there. And so a lot of people, they don't trust, or they learn to not trust that whatever naturally comes out from their true self, because maybe it's too much and you are not professional enough, or you are judged, or you're too crude, or you're too real. Or it could be that you're too little. People are like, you need to talk more, you need to whatever. So it's somewhere along the line, we just don't trust that we might laugh at a funeral, or we might, not laugh at someone's jokes, or, we don't really know what's going to come out of us at that moment. So a lot of people, they don't like to be themselves truly because they want to have a bit of control over what comes out. Whereas I find that the master has two realizations as it comes to this. One is that there is no version of yourself which is superior than your truest self. And by the way, I have a note here that says, that I came to, it's like, being authentic is subtraction, not addition. So true authenticity isn't something you do. It's, you just keep subtracting all of the false nonsense until you arrive at really nothing else to subtract, and you found authenticity. And that version of you is far superior than any of the masks or enhancements or improvements that you think you're able to add on. So I'm here doing a video. I could, of course, be more serious, or I could be more, outgoing, and I could force it, but I really don't believe that any of those versions are going to be improvement over how I most naturally feel today, in this hour. So that's what you get, And the second thing is that the master of self-improvement who is very present and has, gone through this, they also realize that what emerges when you're being your true self is trustable, and actually is the best thing that could come out. So if you're, actually I realize, after many years, when I'm sitting there, for example, in a business meeting, and suddenly the urge to make a comment that comes to my brain comes to me and it has to be spoken, those are always the most impactful and beneficial contributions to the room, compared to when I'm sitting there saying, I should really think of something, I should really contribute, so I just say something just to say something. So that's practice, actually, I recommend if you want to embrace your gifts and open up the aperture for more of your gifts to flow out more freely, is to, as a practice, go through your day being as aligned and sink it into who you really are as much as possible. And that means that if you're there and you have nothing to say and nothing comes up, you're okay with just being the silent one in the corner. It's okay. Or if you're there and maybe you're not as polished or not as professional or not as magnetic or exciting or sexy, that's okay too. It's almost like practice just being who you really are in that moment and watch what happens. And watch what happens with your gifts. Those are my 2 cents. I hope you got value, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.